Most insurance producers lose deals because they focus too much on the product they're selling. But here's the truth: product is only about 25% of the deal. The other 75%, it's all about people and navigating the sales process. In this video, I'm going to break down the four key knowledge bases you actually need to win deals. So, look, there's more here than I can tackle in one video, which is why I'm making a whole series on these four knowledge bases. But let me hit them at a high level. You need to understand human psychology if you want to win a sale. You need to understand your client's business. You need to understand the insurance purchasing process inside an organization. And yes, you do need product knowledge, but that's only one out of four. This is where I think the insurance industry fails new producers. Old school legacy producers will talk endlessly about coverage analysis, price, and which carriers to use. And that's fine, but it's only one part of the equation. Because here's the reality: you can deliver the best product in the market, but if your prospect doesn't think you're like them, they won't buy from you. And if they don't trust you, they won't buy from you. Period. That's why psychology matters. You've got to understand how people decide who to buy from. What triggers good feelings? What makes them choose one broker or one company over another? Humans like to follow the pack because that's where it feels safe. They look for social proof. They trust people who look like them, that sound like them, talk like them, work like them. Your job is to tap into that primal part of who we are, which leads to the second knowledge base: understanding your client's business. One of the best ways to sound like one of them is to have a deep understanding of what they do. If you sell to schools, you need to sound like somebody who's spent time at a school. If you sell to excavators, you need to talk like you've been on a job site. That comes from knowing how they make money, knowing how they lose money, and what keeps them up at night. Then there's the insurance purchasing process. You have to know the role different people play in buying insurance because any of them can sink your deal. The office manager, the business manager, the CFO, the owner, they all have the power to kill it. And here's the tricky part: in a complicated sale, you're not selling to one person, you're selling to a team. You have to speak to each one about their specific problems in their language at their level. If you talk to an owner about coverage limits, their eyes are going to glaze over. But if you talk to them about how insurance impacts their profit and loss statement, they're going to lean in. If you talk to an office manager about issuing certificates quickly, they'll care, but flip those topics around, you'll lose them. That's why you have to curate your message for each role. And you can only do that if you understand the insurance purchasing process. But the truth is, most of the industry doesn't teach this. They'll teach you building limits and ordinance and law coverage and the fine print and policy forms because carriers want you to prefer their product. But no one's telling you this: if your audience doesn't hear you, they won't buy from you. So here's where we're going with the rest of this series, and this is only video one. We're going to dive deep into how people work, what makes them buy, how different personality types make decisions. We'll talk about how different industries work and how to really get to know the ones that you want to target. So when you're in front of them, you sound like them. You'll look and sound like someone they already know, like, and trust. We're going to break down the buying process inside an organization, who the key players are, the personality types you're likely to encounter, and how to tailor your message for each one so it lands. And then finally, we'll put product knowledge in its proper place. It's important, it's built in, but it's not the tip of the spear. It's not what wins the deal. If you stick with me through the series, you'll know exactly where to focus your research and build your knowledge so you can crush it in insurance sales. So here's the big takeaway: product knowledge matters, but it's only a small piece of the puzzle. If you don't understand people, if you don't understand the business you're working with, and if you don't know how they actually make buying decisions, you're going to keep losing deals to brokers who do. This series is about changing that. Over the next few videos, I'm going to walk you through each of the 4 knowledge bases, give you real world examples, and show you exactly how to apply them so you stop chasing deals and start winning them. So if you haven't already, hit subscribe and let's keep going, because in the next video, we're talking about the single biggest factor in insurance sales: human psychology.